But baby, if you are Diddy, you are looking at complete devastation. And baby, we about to do this twice in a row. This was an absolutely humiliating and staggering defeat for Diddy. From the morning, every stupid motion he put in got denied. But more importantly, everybody's saying, I don't see that RICO. Well, you must be blind because they built the RICO one hotel receipt, one credit card seat at a time. They have summary witnesses, and I'm not going to lie. Why the summary witness seems to be a little bit boring, not to me, I'm loving it. This is where the RICO is proven. You must choose. We know what the organization is. It's Combs Global. We got the organization. In order to have a RICO, you must have people that move, okay? Move together with one proper goal in furtherance of a mission or a goal. They have to be an enterprise. That's called Combs Global. They're moving with one common goal. That is to protect Diddy's image. When they protect Diddy's image was the moneymaker. It was the way it filtered in, okay? They have that common goal, and they have the underlying criminal charges. The RICO is being built right now, and nobody even sees it because there's not any headlines about, oh my God, she a hoe, she this, she's that. Because there aren't any misogynistic headlines, people are not realizing that today the RICO was, forget about built, it was etched in stone. It was etched in stone. Diddy is not coming back from this. Let's get into this. On top of that, KK, D-Rock, baby, I think they're getting into the same Maxwell treatment. Brendan Paul flipped. We said he flipped a while back. As a matter of fact, I'll put up the actual video where I said he flipped, and then the way Diddy tried to roll up on him in California, and Brendan was looking like, boy, get out of here, right? We're going to do an oldie but goodie. Brendan Paul's video. We need Brendan Paul. We need Shakir Stewart. And we need Cowboys and Angels. That was the thing. They showed all the communications. And the thing is, they have them dead to right with the communications. They have these people getting flown in. They have them at the airport being like, I'm here. What hotel room should I come to? Yo, say you're at room 408. They have, should I bring baby on? No, it's cool. We got it. There was so much devastation today. I will say this is Diddy's worst week. And he was looking mad. Diddy came in here smiling, almost on his tippy toes, just floating in the court, so happy. By the end of the first hour, he was looking mad, sad, upset, tired, and hungry and angry all at the same time. Maybe let's get into what we actually discovered through this thing. Oh, also, Diddy's team is letting us know their first round of witnesses. They said it's going to be Vasha Dunlap. I think she was the head of HR, Stefan, and somebody named Carolina. It's a summary witness with exhibit of charts. How are you starting a summary witness in the beginning? But that's not even it. Diddy's team is trying to withhold who their witnesses are. Now, they tried to do the okie doke on the prosecution. They gave the prosecution literally their Christmas list. Remember when you were little and your parents were like, what you want for Christmas, right? And you literally would put down every toy known to man. It would be like toy cartoons would come on in the middle. Toy commercials would come on into the middle of your cartoons, and you'd be like, I want that too. And when you gave them the Christmas list, it was like a book. It was pages. And your parents were like, okay, so you only get one toy. What do you want? That's the way Diddy gave the Christmas list to the prosecutors. He gave them a witness list that had so many people. The prosecution literally stood up in court after the judge dismissed the jurors. We don't know what's happening with that second juror, whether they'll be dismissed or not. They are going to be questioned. But we don't know whether or not they are going to be dismissed. But they are going to be questioned, okay? So anyway, right? Diddy was literally sitting there, and he gave them this long list. The prosecution was like, what do you want us to do with this? Like, can you be for real, I like the green. Can you just be for real, for 2 seconds? They stood up in court, and they're like, Your Honor, there's a few things that need to happen. First of all, they gave us a witness list that is impossible for them to complete trial by July 4th or July 18th. There's no way you can have all these witnesses. So already the prosecution is like, Diddy's team is playing in our face. Now, there's two reasons why they might be doing that. The first one, because they want to make sure that the prosecution gets the least amount of, like they want to trial by ambush. They want to make sure the prosecution is not ready, don't have the questions ready for the witnesses, even though I've heard Maureen Comey and all of them are sitting on ready, right? Then there's also another case. There's also another case of what the prosecution could be doing. What could they be doing? By demanding that list, they're trying to short circuit Diddy and they're trying to call Diddy's bluff. See, here's the thing. People are saying that Diddy's going to have all these people to testify for him. But here's the thing. It was already said in prior testimony that Diddy always had his employees and everybody else perjure for him. This is what they said, right? This is what people said. No, Diddy would be like, yo, if something happens, you're going to have to go to court and tell them the story. You're going to have to lie for me, right? The thing is, Diddy don't got the money. He don't got the influence anymore. So how many people does he really have ready to testify? Let's think about it, right? I heard Rick Ross's Tia talking about Young Miami, where you at, Rick Ross, Meek Mills. How many people are going to go into a federal court and perjure themselves? Hear me out. You cannot make a character witness. You can't go and be like, I think he's the best man I've ever seen. No. How many people are going to go into the courts and perjure themselves for a man that is already facing life in prison? Especially now that you got that obstruction charge because that hidden phone that Diddy was trying to hide and he was like, no, don't bring it into court. The feds just ruled 100%. The judge has ruled 100% that the feds can use that hidden phone and the feds can use that to prove obstruction of justice and to prove perjury. So that is coming in. But again, if it was different character witness, like I think he's a great person, then that would be different. But how many people are going to come into a federal court when they got their knives sharpened and get up there and lie for Sean Diddy Combs? I know that might have worked allegedly with the police. That might have worked in state court. That might have worked with employee settlements and trying to get people out for false firing. But how many people are going to go and actually lie on behalf of Diddy? How many people? I guess we're going to see how many idiots and clowns there really are in there. I think that what the prosecution is trying to show is that the defense doesn't really have that many people that are willing to testify for them, that are willing to get up and perjure themselves, that are willing, and even if you don't have to perjure yourself, who is going to get up in defense of Sean Diddy Combs? The feds have this man dead to right. So if you do testify, I would imagine you would go down as the idiot, right? You would go down as the idiot that was actually defending Sean Diddy Combs. We saw what happened with Ashton Kutcher and Mina Kunis and what's that guy, Danny Masterman. We saw what happened when they stood by him and tried to help their little grapey friend. We saw what happened. What's the difference between that and Diddy? Even though Danny Masterman might have been like a serial killer, I don't know. That whole thing was weird. My whole point of the matter is, who is going to get up and put their reputation, put their livelihood, put their public image and their integrity on the line for Diddy when they got him already dead to rights? And hear me out. Diddy doesn't really... We can't make an argument about whether the people that were around Diddy, and I mean the famous people, even had that much integrity to begin with. Now hear me out. I'm not saying that they were doing like Diddy-ish and free calls and stuff. What I am saying is, you know that if you stand next to him, there is going to be a public backlash. People are going to be mad. People are going to be angry. So much stuff is going to be going on. You know that. So if you stand next to Diddy, you risk us turning around and being like, yeah, what's going on with you? What's in your thing? And people digging into your past and pulling out things that can truly, truly destroy you. Again, it looks like the prosecution called Diddy's team's bluff. And they're like, how many witnesses do you really have? Because everybody's talking about, oh my God, the prosecution case must be weak. They rested early. We need to worry about Diddy's case and his maybe witnesses. You gave a list this long. And then when he's like, how about this? How about you tell us who's out? Who's not testifying? Now the gag would be if Gina turned up and she testified, but I don't think she's gonna do that. Gina already said she is the secret sauce and she is on her way. Even though honestly, the way the victims were actually treated, I actually do see why Gina said I ain't testifying. Honeybee Therapy, thank you so much for the super chat. Also, Candy Ortiz said, Tisa, love you so much, Yana. Also, Emily Gonzalez, thank you so much for the super chat. Also, you guys, really quick, commercial. I now have merch. This is a journal. I have notebooks. I have Stanley Cups. I I have t-shirts that say Yana, and on the back it says Diddy did it. I'm also gonna get a shirt that says listen on it. I want you guys to, well, do what y'all want, but y'all been asking for merch, and I finally have merch. I ordered mine. I'm waiting for it to come so I can come to court in my Yana shirt, so I can see Mark Agnifilio look at me like, ugh. Diddy team can't stand me. Every time Mark Agnifilio sees me, he'll be walking to the court. He'll say hi to everyone. Hi, how you doing? He'll see me and just be like, ugh. It's not my fault it's not my fault you are representing the modern day Jack the Ripper. Like, what do you, I don't know what you want me to do with that. Anyway, right? So it's going to be Brendan Paul, that's Diddy's former rug mule, that Little Rod identified in his lawsuit, is going to be testifying. I know Diddy wished to God he had paid Little Rod that money. Somebody named Palando and Scolcialo, right? Don't quote me on that. Y'all know how I am with writing and pronouncing people's names, but it's something. Somebody starts with a P, somebody starts with an S, and of course Brendan Paul. Okay, so Diddy's gonna have Vasha, there's gonna have exhibits and charts. Oh, that's another thing. They stood up and said, Your Honor, we're gonna need to see these exhibits and charts. Like, basically, they're not letting Mark Agnifilio do that little ambush thing they did. Now they are on to the defense's game, and they're like, no, we wanna see everything ahead of time, per the judge's orders, okay? Oh, this is another bombshell that was dropped in court. So the summary expert, and again, the summary is where they match up the text messages to testimony, to receipts, to times, and all this. Mia has been vindicated, right? As much as people think, Sheila, thank you so much. As much as people think that Mia might have been lying, I think maybe she did actually get nervous on the stand. And to tell you the truth, she had the guts to do what 80% of us wouldn't have done. You know what I'm saying? So kudos to her for like getting flambéed in public, but they actually showed a text between Mia and Diddy when he was like, hey, Mia, it's Puff. And remember, they tried to make it seem like she was a liar, that all this stuff happened. They had the text messages where not only was Puff reaching out to Mia, right? Being like, yo, can we just talk? Can we do this and that? But D-Rock and Puff were having a side conversation talking about, yo, she ain't called me. Yo, hit her back, blah, 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 blah. Basically letting us know that D-Rock was doing this at Puff's bidding. Now, the defense is trying to argue that at the time when D-Rock did this, which was just in 2023, or 2024, that D-Rock was not in Puff's employ. But yet and still, you know what they say about the RICO. It is over when the goal is satisfied. And the goal hasn't been satisfied. Or the people part of the RICO publicly denounce it. Miss Gang Smasher said, hi, Tisa. How are you? Show your sexy arm. Are you a Pac fan? It's Pac's B-Day. Happy birthday to Tupac. Oh, is it? Oh, yeah, he was a Gemini. Hey, what's up, Tamara? Thank you so much, Tamara. And also, Kay said, I would love for you to get an interview with Mark. I would love that too. But I don't think Mark can't stand me. But maybe I did it for y'all. Yana. Potent Pondering said, I heard D-Rock was texting like he was a lover. Well, here's the thing with the text. He was literally talking to her like she was stupid, but this is what Diddy does. He was like, yo, just remember I love you like a sister. I'm not rich, but I ain't poor either. Let me know what you're doing. Monica Elizabeth said, we're so proud of you. Keep doing what you do. Thank y'all. Don't forget, I will be on Nancy Grace today, tomorrow, actually all week. On top of that, let's not forget ABC Live, Nightline, Hollywood Reporter. Your girl is going up. I got a few other things in the bag, but I want to wait to make sure I don't get cut. Right? But once I know that for real, I'll share that with y'all. Okay? Also, don't forget, we have the merch is up in the merch store. If you've ever wanted to support me or you want a journal in exchange for sending a super chat, make sure you check out that merch store. Okay? In any case, also I want to give a shout out to B and 2 other people. Yo, 3 of you guys already ordered. I'm gonna give you guys a shout out next live. I have to look. I know it was B, of course. Thank you for being the first to order my merch, and it was 2 other people, but I'm gonna give y'all a shout out in next live. The point of the matter is, D-Rock was like, yo, I always got you, but they said this is what Diddy does. Diddy gets people, much like he got Rob Holiday, according to Bona, to reach out to people and to be like, yo, what can he get you? What can he literally, D-Rock really asked her, are you good with money? Are you good with bills? But without putting Diddy's name in it. Mia was like, oh yeah, I've been going through a lot of debt and stuff, but you know what? I'm perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. I'll get out of it. And that's when Diddy started calling her directly. Because as soon as he heard that she was having money problems, he decided to sneak on in there and do what it do. Okay? And Diddy was complaining to D-Rock on these side messages that Mia doesn't want to talk to him and won't take his phone call. Which leads me to believe, and this is before Mia is not, I don't think she was suing Diddy, nothing like that. So it literally leaves credence to Mia being like, yo, I don't like that mofo and I don't want him around me. Mike, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, what else happened, right? Also, Tinny Garagos got up to cross-examine the summary witness, and Diddy got up and pulled her chair out. Sir, we think you are the devil himself. Stop with the pulling the chair out. Chivalry is not getting you out of this one. If anything, it makes you seem more like a creep. We heard what you're into. We heard what you like. You talking about your personal business. If I was Tinny, I would have took some Lysol and been like, thank you. Because at the end of the day, who knows what Diddy is getting up to in jail? Honestly, right? If I was Tinny, I would have got some Lysol, some of those wipes, and just been like, like, I'm fine, right? Anyway, Mia said, again, they focused on D-Rock saying, I'm not rich, but I'm not broke. Why would D-Rock be offering to give Mia money? He was sounding like he was some lover or like whatever. Who just calls someone out the blue after not talking to somebody for years and offering them money and then being like, yo, can you call Puff? He want to talk to you. Where do you think he's getting the money from, right? She said, I'm in a low place with debt, but that's my own problem. I'll be fine, right? And then Diddy and D-Rock were texting on the side saying, yo, I don't know what's going on. I keep calling her. It's ringing like she's out the country, but I don't know. Also, get this. There was KK and Diddy's text, right? They were discussing TMZ articles. There was text between KK and Cassie. Are you okay? Let me know. All this other stuff. Oh my God, it was a lot. Again, people might have found this day boring, but this is when the RICO didn't come in a picture. It was solidified. They etched that stuff in stone, right? They also had messages between Jules, one of the Smex workers, coming and going. Baby, when I said they had receipts upon receipts, oh, you know what else? Diddy is getting all his companies forfeited. This is something very interesting that happened too, right? First of all, the judge told them you need to get your verdict forms, okay? What are the verdict forms, right? The verdict forms are for the proposed charges. So each side, the federal court judge is the one that makes the jury instructions. The jury instructions say, if they did A, you must find B. You know, if you find proof that I am a human woman, then you must find that I live on planet Earth, right? It was the verdict forms. Now, here's the thing. The questions that you ask the jury can make or break whether or not you get not guilty or guilty to an extent, right? Can't go too crazy, right? However, the judge is the one that makes it, but he told both sides, write down how you want your jury form, the proposed charge to actually look like, and I will take that into account while I'm actually making the jury forms, right? They said also, there was any new requests that you want added to the charge, you need to have that in too. Now, they did talk about their expert witness limits. Dr. Bardet is going to go and try to do what a Dr. Hughes did. Basically I think that they're going to try to turn Diddy into like, you know, someone that needed his mommy and had a sick fetish and just loved everybody and was taken advantage by mean, nasty woman. I think Dr. Barrett is going to try to explain all his behavior. And here's the thing. Dr. Barrett has been used by the prosecutors a bunch of times. The only thing is she is not an expert on sex trafficking, on coercive control, or on abuse. So the prosecution said, listen, you got your expert witness, you got that off, but we're going to limit what you can ask her. And once we limit what you can ask her it looks like they are going to try to but neuter Dr. Barrett and the controls. I will say one thing. At the end of the trial, this is about the juror. At the end of the trial, Diddy's team was like, excuse me, we want to know what was said to the other jurors to make sure it doesn't create a weird atmosphere. Again, now they're trying to say because the juror was dismissed, guess what? Say it with me, y'all. We need a mistrial, because that's what Diddy says about everything. Whenever anything happens, mistrial. Brian Still, stop this Fulton County nonsense in this good Southern District of New York courtroom. It's just it's like a lot. It's getting a lot. Like, just stop it. You're not getting a mistrial, but they have to. Mary from Virginia, USA said, love you too. And Nancy Bermudez Gamble said, you're the best girly girl. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Also, Dee, thank you so much for the super chat, right? My whole point of the matter is, I get what they're doing. They're trying to preserve this, right? They're 100% trying to preserve this. Alexandra, LLC Bond, thank you so much for the super chat. They are trying to preserve this for appeal, because even though there's no merit, you might get an appeal judge that listens, which is why Judge Aaron clearly, and in a very calculated, clear, and explanatory manner, told us what was going on and why that juror was dismissed, right? Lay Mike said, do you think Diddy will take the stand? Diddy will absolutely 100% take the stand. Absolutely and 100%. Absolutely 100%. He's even setting it up right now. You can see them laying it in for him to take the stand. And why wouldn't he? This man has thought that he basically gaslighted us and tricked a nation for over 2 decades. Do you honestly think that he thinks that his powers, his dark art powers, don't work? Also, Lauren Frank said, love watching you work, girl. Thank you so much, Laura Frank. I appreciate that. House of Glam, what's up, Jamie? I have to. Oh, thank you, Jamie. We got to talk. She said, you just ordered my mug so I can sip some tea. Sing, Brenda, sing. Thank you so much. We have merch. Just to let you guys know, we have all sorts of merch. Go ahead and support. Okay. Anyway, check out the merch store. Anyway, listen. Also, they talked about Bona and the perjury thing, and he was like, what in the exhibits for the last time reflects in any way that Bona perjured herself? And it's actually super irresponsible that people were actually saying that when there was no proof of perjury. Getting a date wrong when you said it happened 10 years ago and you were high out your mind, getting a date wrong by a few days is not perjury. Because in the eyes of the law, they're like, okay, maybe, but did it happen? Great Grandma Anon said, they need to neuter the diddler. Love you, Tisa. Also, Sheila B, thank you so, oh my God, Sheila, thank you for the generous super chat. Oh, thank you, Sheila. Risa, wait, what's up, White? Thank you so much, Risa and Tisa, R&T, what's going on? Listen, but the whole point of the matter is, so anyway, the judge set all this stuff down. So they tried to show a bunch of very complicated charts, but one of the more interesting things that happened, and let me just get to this, is they were showing that Diddy was about spending, like, I think $369,000, give or take, every single month. This was all his personal expenses. This was business expenses. This was it on the Amex card. Now, here's the interesting thing. They showed a chart where it looks like a lot of the hookers, right? They would get plane tickets. They would get Ubers. They would get hotel fees. They would do all that stuff. And guess what? They were showing the card it was charged to. The card it was charged to was an Amex ending in 9686, right? And they said, where was that Amex? Who was the owner of the Amex? They said it was registered to 207 Anderson, Bad Boy Entertainment Worldwide. Diddy was using his corporate account to fly in hookers. Diddy was using his corporate account to Uber hookers. Diddy was using his corporate account to pay hookers. Y'all, Diddy is getting all of his assets forfeiture. Even if he can beat the charges, and he will not, he is going to be left broke. Oh, but it's not over, right? Again, Bad Boy Entertainment bought Cassandra and flew Cassie from LAX to JFK, right? The text reveal where things line up completely, but it was all put on one. So they showed like the Amex circle, and they're like, what does that mean? And they're like, this is the different banks that pay. Because you can change the payment every single month. And it was all blue. And they're like, what does that mean? And they said every payment that went to this credit card came from the same bank account, which was Bad Boy Entertainment Worldwide. Baby, he just hooked his whole business into RICO being cheap. They also talked about Clayton Howard, a.k.a. Dave. They had messages from Clayton Howard to Cassie that linked them to reservations, rooms. Also, they had the receipts that the rooms were paid for in cash. Oh my God, this is something really quick. Victoria Hernandez, love you too. This is another thing. The court actually played the freak off video. I have to tell you all this. They played the freak off. They played and the freak off tapes in the court. They played the freak off tapes in the court. And one second. One second. So they played the freak off tapes in court. Y'all, when I say the jury was disgusted, Cindy Marbury, thank you so much for the super chat. When I say the jury was disgusted, I'll tell you one thing though. All the men for the jury, they were locked in. They were locked in. One was like leaning, like looking like, what is that? They were locked in. I don't want to identify any jurors specifically, but one juror looked like they were just like, ugh, couldn't even look away. They played the freak off tapes in court. Now, let me just say this, right? They had the overflow room screen off, and I was in the main courtroom as usual. They had the main courtrooms thing turned off, okay? So we couldn't see, but they had everybody in headphones, but they were playing the tape, right? One tape was, good night. See ya. No problem. You never bother me. Have a good one. Parallel Jen, thank you so much for the super chat, right? One of the tapes was 11 minutes long. The other one was 39 minutes long. And when I heard there was all sorts of moaning and this and like, yeah, what you like, babe? I don't even want to get demonetized, but it sounded like it was whatever. And they were looking at it like, what is going on? It was a freak off tape between, I would assume, because we had just been talking about it, but we don't know who the escort was there, but there was three freak off tapes were played in court today. All we could do was hear the sound, and the sound wasn't loud because they were playing it in the front of the courtroom because they didn't even want anyone to see because of the privacy for Cassie, Jane Doe's, all that stuff. But yeah, it sounded hardcore. It sounded explicit. And even though we didn't have headphones and they were trying to keep it down, you still heard Sean Diddy Combs murmuring some sick, nasty stuff. And Cassie, or whoever was on the tape, trying to act like they were enjoying. I assume it was Cassie because we were just talking, but we don't know. So they played 3 freak off tapes to the jury. Not in entirety. They played 3 minutes from one tape. They played 2 minutes for another, and I think they played 3 minutes from like another. But that's 3. Let's not forget they said they have 9 tapes, 9 exact tapes. Now, some people say that Diddy is going to actually try to play those tapes on his side. Here's what I don't understand. Diddy is such an idiot. If you think that after we heard that these people were getting blackmailed, they were getting beaten up, they were drugged up, they were doped up, all that stuff, they were basically trafficked. You really think showing a tape, even if they were like, oh yes, no, it's my favorite, right? Do you really think that's going to change anybody's mind? That's like when we found out that Pornhub was using traffic victims for some of their hardcore stuff. After that, their viewership plummeted because nobody wants to see that mess. The fact that we now know the story behind this scene and what you did, and even if the camera is on the girl and the guy, and Diddy is sounding like a perverted, crackhead in the corner, murmuring what to do and all this stuff, even if all that is true, now that we know what went into building it, why would we want to see it? It's like we know it was just fantasy. It's like the fact that he somehow thinks this helps them. Oh, look, they were enjoying it. Yeah, and you were threatening to show their mom their tape. You were beating them up in holes. You were doing this and that. Why do you think this is a good idea? Samaria said, your new show, Man on the Street for Famous Cases. Oh my God, I would love to do that. I would love to even start running up to people like, hey, I'm a man on the street. What do you think? But also, it also lets you know with Diddy that he's just not quite there with consent. The fact that we know all the dirty details about how those freak offs came to happen. The fact that you know that when we hear your voice, and by we I mean me, is visualizing you standing in the corner with a burqa from the neck up, sacrilegious, that's haram, and naked from the waist down with a Tootsie Roll dangling in the wind. The fact that you know that we actually see that, and you still don't understand that this isn't a good look for you. It goes into the fact that he still doesn't understand what he did wrong and what boundaries he crossed. That you think by seeing somebody putting on the performance on the life, literally hopping on that blip and doing a full split, you somehow think this exonerates you. It makes me think you still don't understand consent. You still don't understand what you did wrong. You still think that you were in your legal right to do all this stuff. You know? It's just, listen. I just, it boggles my mind. And you want to show this as a defense when we know the backstory. You still don't understand what you did wrong. You still think, and it lets me know that if you are let out, you are going to continue your reign of terror with your little flunkies. I will say one thing. How did Diddy get so many flunkies on his team? How? So many flunkies. Is this what money and power does? People just don't want to rock the boat. Anyway, they said, oh, so what else happened? Listen, while they were playing the tape, another weird thing happened. After they were done playing the tape, Diddy usually, like, he looks down at the floor, he tries to do something. After he played the tape, Diddy literally legit acted like he was, like, not proud, but like, that happened. You were going to jail, sir. The fact that you don't even know to be ashamed of it. You're proud of it. Diddy, that's probably the most fun Diddy's had in years. That's probably why he wants more time outside and he wants to see those tapes. He's going to excuse Mark Agnifilio and everybody from there and just do what needs to be done, you know? Anyway, listen, again, there's a lot of stuff going on in the courtroom, but let's really quick and focus on KK really quick too, because I don't think people understand how much trouble Miss Mama is in, right? Listen, so they were playing messages, right? On one message, it was D-Rock's message, right? D-Rock reached out and said, oh, thank you, Nanya B. Said, I just ordered your cup, so cute. My name is Suzanne. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Thank you. I have a coffee mug. When I go home for my final live tonight, I'm going to start stepping up the lives because next week with Diddy's team, it's going to be huge. So I'm going to start stepping up my lives and information. And you guys don't forget, I do videos about other stuff. I know you can't tell because I'm so focused on Diddy because I'm in the courthouse every day. However, when starting this week, I'm going to start cycling other content because, you know, we do other fun stuff, right? Anyway, D-Rock texted him and said, love you, man. If you need a friend, I'm here. Diddy said, oh, Tisa, oh, thank you, Tisa. Said, new viewer, already hooked. Much love. Name Twin. Where have you been? Also, Susan Mikulski, thank you so much for the super chat. And Jay said, it's crazy how grown adults can't take accountability for the decisions and actions. No one is underage or forced to get freaky. Jay, I truly do hope that you actually learn from when Diddy is, because what he did was illegal. Hiring hookers are illegal. Blackmailing or using forces of threat, fraud, or coercion to get women that you tricked into thinking you were in a relationship with to lay with escorts is illegal. Having them move drugs for you, it's illegal. Forcing them to take drugs when they don't want to is illegal. Laying hands on them in the hopes that you can beat them into submission to lay down with escorts is illegal. Telling somebody that you're going to release tapes unless your mom gives them $20K, that is illegal. Holding somebody at gunpoint to take them to a guy's house that your girlfriend may or may not be talking to is illegal. Telling that person that you're holding at gunpoint, you either tell Cassie to come here and trade in for you or you're going nowhere. That's illegal. Holding somebody in a hotel room while their face is healing because you don't want someone to know that you beat them to a pulp is illegal. Threatening to take everything away from people is 100% illegal. So when you're saying it's crazy how grown adults can't take accountability for their decisions and actions, I would say you should look at the diddler too, because he seems to be the only person with a legal team that is costing him 15 or 20 million by the time it's over with, right? They are not cheap at all. He seems to be the only person scraping and surviving and trying to not take their accountability for the action. See, let me tell you something. All these Jane Does and these victims are doing is telling their story. The fact that their story happens to fit into what the federal government thinks is illegal, that's not playing victim. That's not playing victim. The federal government has decided they were forced to get freaky. The only person trying everything in his power to do to skirt accountability is the guy you're going up for. I realize this messes up this dream that if you're a billionaire, you got a million women just waiting to put one leg up and they'll do anything for that money. I get it. For whatever reason, there is a dream to have ownership and control over somebody's mind and body, and you wish you had the money and means to do it. And I don't know, maybe it's a fantasy. I don't know where you see yourself in Diddy, unless you've done Diddy like thing. I don't understand, but I am just telling you that if you have done anything like Diddy has done, or you know anyone, you can have your opinion all you want, but Uncle Sam, the federal government, says it is, in fact, what's the word? Illegal. Anyway, let's get back into this. Miss Cat said, damn, is KK the bottom B or was she the madam? You know what? You want to hear something, Miss Cat? So Jamie had an interesting thing. She said that what if KK was the bottom B and she was just low-key in love with Diddy, and that's why she enjoyed him treating those other girls well. I mean, treating them badly, because in her mind, they would chase the other girls away, and they have this connection. He trusts her, he depended on her. She said, girl, you never know. KK might have been secretly wanting to be with Diddy or whatever, and just wanted those other girls to go away. So she secretly enjoyed it when he was treating those other girls bad, because she was like, if she waited it out, he'll just end up with her. You know what I'm saying? So it brings up Venture's thing. Jeanette Guzman, thank you so much, Jeanette. Also, Heather Scott said, I appreciate you coming on every day to give us the honest report and keep up the amazing job. Thank you. Also, Sandra Price, thank you so much for the super chat. Last but not least, Dina the Explorer said, Tisa, some people are committed to not understanding the RICO because they're creeps too. Exactly. And it's funny to me that these same people are saying some people just don't want to take accountability. But the federal government is saying what the accountability is. They're doing everything they can to avoid it. Deeper Than Skin Deep said, order my merch, Tisa. Keep up the great work. Oh, thank y'all so much for supporting me and my merch. I appreciate that so much. Dylan Moore said, will we hear about the celebrities that participated? We don't know yet. Diddy has to mount their defense is coming. They might spill tea. Also, Lucia Wortham said, may the Lord continue to bless you to rise. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that so much. And Cut Up Radio said, go T said, thank you. And Jody Johnson Strong said, Diddy and Matt, yes. Diddy's image is toast. He can rot in prison. Exactly. He's not coming back. He's not coming back from this. Anyway, right? But let's get into this, right? Let's see. So Mia was in Honduras. Hold on. Let me get to the... Mia was in Honduras. Diddy was... So the U.S. attorney brought up KK's text. They asked, so what does KK write? This is when they were talking to Miss Sankar. She's doing the summary. She said KK wrote, they're just chilling at his house, out to shop like King Knight mode or Gucci bag mode. Then they laughed about it. All right. Then on top of that, they showed messages. Hold on. Let me get this in the right order. Okay, so my messages are a little bit out of order because I took notes, but I will say this. They showed through the messages that KK can't say she didn't know what was happening in those hotel rooms. She was directing people to drop $4,000 in cash in a hotel room at like 3 a.m. She was talking about wild king nights or hotel nights. She was talking about, we have to go shop for this stuff. The fact that they are now trying to say that they don't know that KK didn't know what was going on. Oh, Jody Johnson Strong, thank you so much for the membership. For gifting a membership, y'all. Make sure y'all say thank you, whoever got gifted the membership from her. Of course, I think KK did know, but Diddy's team is trying to say that she didn't know. Blessed Child said, Kanye show up, where's Kevin Hart and the rest of them? Protecting their careers. And their legacy, Kanye ain't got nothing to lose. That's why he showed up. He's probably hoping because if Diddy goes down, Kanye got his own Diddy-like cases. But I will say this, right? I think that they're literally trying, the defense is pushing hard to say KK knew nothing about it. Absolutely nothing about this. But I think the reason why the defense is saying that KK knew absolutely nothing about it is because they are worried about KK flipping on them. KK can still decide to flip. And I feel like they feel like as long as they can get KK to the end of the road, and they can get KK, it's cool. The only thing with KK is like, KK, do you not realize that you will be charged separately? The fact that you actually believe that Diddy is going to get off. Now, here's one thing that a lawyer did tell me that I thought was a little bit interesting, right? They said the reason why KK might have chose to ride out with Diddy is because maybe the prosecution did go to them and did offer her immunity. But maybe it was like on just saying Maxwell, saying, listen, you did a lot of shit. You were his co-conspirator. You could be looking at life in prison too. However, if you talk to us, if you let us know what's going on, we'll give you 5 years. And somebody said that they might have offered KK a deal that to her, she's like, I can't do 5 years in prison. And Diddy was like, girl, don't worry about it. We're going to be right here with each other. And because we're going to be right here with each other, and don't worry about it, and it's not that bad, and she took the deal with the devil because she's been working with the devil. Because at the end of the day, she has done so many things to help move Diddy along. Not just the Wild King nights, not just the hotel rights, but the bribery, the moving money around, to covering up abuse, to moving up. She might have done so much stuff that when the government offered her immunity, they did say you'd have to have some time behind it. And she, for whatever reason, is like, you know what? I'm not doing any time. I'd just rather take my mug. Oh, Dawn, etc. Thank you. Thank you for ordering the coffee mug. You guys, we have merch. We have your HONAH shirts. We have merch. We have coffee mugs. We have Stanley cups. We have oh, wait. You know what? We have, hold on, guys. We have, what do we have here? We have coffee mugs. I have smoothie mugs. We have Stanley cups. We have everything. On top of that, we have your HONAH shirts. Listen shirts, baby. We are finally, yes, thank you. We also have your HONAH. Diddy did it. Oh, Natasha said, I'm starting to think the women who believe Cassie and the victims wanted it for that lifestyle and money are the ones who sell their souls for P. Diddy. You know what? I find it hard to believe that any woman would sign up to get trains ran on them by escorts with no rubbers. I actually think it might even be more punishing. Maybe they're just mad. I honestly don't know. I need somebody with that actually understands psychosis to actually come on and tell me what's going on, because it's just very, very weird, right? Oh, also, thank you all. For those of you guys wondering, KK is Christina Quorum. You can Google her. Live, love, laugh. Welcome to the Tattlesworth family. KK is Christina Quorum. You can Google her. She is Diddy's right-hand brain. They said it's Diddy's right brain. She did everything for Diddy. They were super tight, friends to the end. Diddy used to always say, I can't do anything without KK. As a matter of fact, KK was the woman that the day after the lawsuit with Cassie dropped, when Diddy was on the dock looking sad from One Star Island, KK was in a bathrobe right next to him, consoling him, giving him juice, trying to figure out what was going on. Diddy's image is done, but I truly believe Diddy's doing jail time. And people that think that he's getting off, it's wishful thinking. Again, it's wishful thinking. The feds have proven the case. Oh, Rose B, thank you. You said you just bought the hoodie. Thank you so much. Listen, exactly that part. She was in the bathrobe. I don't know. When the freak offs can't happen with anybody else, do KK gotta put your hands on the glass? What do KK? I'm just saying. And that's another thing. Did he seem to sleep with every woman around him? I'm not saying he did anything with KK. I'm just saying it's very, very odd. Listen, Virginia Martinez said, as a second-year law school student, being aged 58 years, because almost losing my life, I'm learning so much from you. Great job. First of all, Virginia, congratulations for you for going back to school, doing the law school. Again, I've heard it's hell, but also to the fact of Virginia, the fact that you are going to enter the workforce and be an advocate for right and be an advocate for people that you truly think will need your guidance and courage, right? My shepherd pie said, do you ship internationally to Singapore? I don't know, actually. Maybe. I don't know. Anyway, hold on. I'm getting hot. So anyway, this weather in New York has been bipolar. I swear to God. So anyway, listen. Brendan Paul's testifying. They got KK. Yeah, Virginia, you go. Law school. Who said law school ain't easy? Fannie G said law school ain't easy. Listen. And also, Yurik Tanavanyan, thank you so much for the super chat. So where are we at? You guys know that those hidden phones were admitted. The federal government can use it. But even if there's nothing on those phones, the federal government is arguing obstruction of justice. And obstruction of justice carries 5 to 20 years tacked on to the other ones. And when there's something called concurrent, right? That's when they run together. And consecutive. You guys know what consecutive is, one after another. Concurrent is when I'm like, okay, so you get one for sex trafficking, one for RICO, and one for obstruction. They're all, one's 10 years, one's 20, whatsoever. They let you just serve all the time. So when you get out, you only serve 20 years, and it took care of everything. However, that's only when you didn't try to do anything funny. Kareem said, when is KK testifying? Is this case almost over? The case isn't going to be over for at least another 3 weeks. Might even be another 4 or 5 weeks. Again, Diddy's team can stretch it out until July 18th. They can stretch it out to July 18th. It's on the calendar from July 4th to tentatively end up to July 18th. So it can be anywhere in between there, okay? I doubt it's going to be July 4th because that's a holiday. La Femme Nikita, thank you so much for joining the Tattletales family. The point of the matter is that once you have obstruction of justice on it, it pretty much X's out your fact that you can get concurrent sentences. And it makes you have consecutive, one after the other. So one charge might give him 20. One charge might give him 40. One charge might get him life. And then on top of that, he has to get that 5 to 20 years for obstruction of justice. He got that for sitting in the thing, but also for hiding that cell phone. It is construction, it has obstruction of justice. If you guys are wondering where everybody is wherever, right? Let's see. So where else? So what else am I missing? Really quick, there's just a few other things I wanted to tell you about. The phone got admitted. Oh, the prosecution is fighting super hard to get Bona's testimony admitted, the part where she says that she was called by Rob Holiday. Rob Holiday is one of Diddy's friends, and Bona said that at a certain point, she counted him as one of his closest friends. After she got dangled off the balcony, she said 3 days later, or a few days later, Rob was at a backyard party at Diddy's house with Diddy right next to him and called her and tried to talk her out of filing a civil suit. Nobody knew she was going to sue, and also about handling it private with Diddy. They're saying that the offer that was thrown out was a FaceTime call. The offer that was thrown out started at $1 million. This pretty much proves, again, Diddy's team has stopped saying that Bona didn't get dangled over. They want to exclude evidence so that she can't prove it actually happened. But again, that was another huge blow, because now the judge is considering letting the prosecution bring in that FaceTime call because Diddy's team insinuated that Bona was not only lying, but that she was making everything up and that she had perjured herself, and that was grounds for a mistrial. You know, that was grounds for a mistrial. Again, people are talking about, what about Diddy's children? I gotta be serious. I actually feel sorry for Diddy's children. They all look like, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, thank you, Fannie G. Fannie G said, God bless you, Tisa, much love. I'm not gonna lie. Diddy's kids all seem super respectful, super nice. You know, his daughters are still young. They act like very well-mannered young ladies, a little shy. Like, they're all like whatever. The point of the matter is Diddy had, and this is the whole thing that goes to Diddy. Diddy had so many blessings. Nakia Hardison said, God bless you, Tisa. You're doing a great job. Thank you. Diddy had so many blessings. He literally had a light that he could have used to actually help a lot of people. But instead, he chose to go and do his demonic, disgusting things. He chose to use that. So it's like, as sad as it is for Diddy's kids, they're going to have to figure life out. And honestly, I don't actually think somebody that's capable of doing that to somebody they lay in bed every night, I don't think that he treats his kids even better. I don't believe in that guy that's like a cold gangster assassin and he comes home and he's a loving father. I think that if you are out there assassinating people in the streets, most likely you are an MFer at home too. I don't believe that somebody can be a horrible person out in the streets and come home and love their family. I think it's all character, and I think that comes out. Yeah, they might not do it at first, but as soon as the kid doesn't listen to them, as soon as the wife makes them mad, as soon as anything happens, that brutal, evil side will come out and they will treat everybody the same, okay? It is a myth that abusers put out that they can contain their abuse. They don't. It's situational, right? The guy might not punch might beat his wife up every night and might not punch his boss in the face, but that's because he needs that money. As soon as the boss is no longer any use to him, they'll attack the boss. You see what I'm saying? So my whole point of the matter is, I think the kids actually might be victims of them too. At the very least, they're going to have to figure life out. They might have trust funds, maybe, that the government can't get to. But I doubt Diddy and his cheap ass was putting that much into it. I think the kids are just going to have to figure life out. And it's sad that even like that little baby, that they have like a legacy of that slime ball. Ashley Thomas says, shout out to Mom Virginia Thomas. Oh, thank you. Shout out to Virginia Thomas. Ashley, shout out to Ashley's mama, Virginia. Thank you for being so much of also, thank you for being there. Again, you guys, what is the wrap up? Risa, thank you for upgrading your membership to a Tattletale MVP. Okay, so what's the takeaway? One, we have merch. There's coffee cups, there's mugs, there's t-shirt that says HONAH, and then Diddy did it on the back. We have merch, right? We also, what is the takeaway? Diddy had the worst day in court today. What is also the takeaway? The RICO is not just proven today. They were etching it in solid granite. Diddy is going down, and I know Yurik, welcome to the family. Tevanyanyan. Listen, I know a lot of people don't agree with me. This is my opinion. I've talked to legal experts. I've told them. I know a lot of people don't agree with me. However, I am predicting that the prosecution has Diddy dead to rights. I am interested to see what type of defense his people can mount, because this whole thing is, yes, I did it, but if you did it according to the law, yeah, you are done for. Anyway, you guys, listen, I'm going to go home. I'll go live later on. The merch link, if you go and you look underneath this live, there should be like literally, so the merch link, I'm going to put it in the super chat, my next super chats. I'll start doing that. But the merch link, if you just go below where the live is, you can just start scrolling through. All right. It's literally just go to any video, or even down here, you can scroll through and go into my little merch thing. Okay. But yeah, I'll start putting the link to the merch in the super chat. Also, I'm going to go home and get my coffee mug so you guys can see. Jamie, thank you so much for buying a mug. I appreciate it. Oh, Live, Love, Laugh. You are the newest member of the Tattletale family. And Darlene, anytime. I love it. Pete said it's so sad for them. He never thought this would happen. He didn't. I don't even think he really had any trust funds or anything ready for him. It's like when people say you need to get a will. I don't think that he had as much money in the trust funds and all that stuff as he should have had, because he probably thought he was going to live forever. Even though with that Tucci, I don't know, maybe he was forward thinking. Coca 16, 2010 said his mouth made him a millionaire, his heart made him a monster. Yes, and his D made him a criminal. Yo, that needs to be on a t-shirt. His mouth made him a millionaire, his heart made him a monster, and his D made him a criminal. Long story short, Diddy is expected to testify. He has given so many signals and let so many people know that he plans on testifying, even what the defense is saying. That man whose mouth made him a millionaire is not just going to let things go like that, you know? Listen, again, exactly that level of monster behavior, I don't think any level, hi, how are you doing? I don't think any level of monster behavior can ever be compartmentalized, but it is. Somebody said that Janice Combs is hiding all the money. Janice Combs is facing a lawsuit too from Kurt Burrows, who said that Diddy and Kim Marsalis literally tried to bully him and stole his percentage of Bad Boy and gave it to Janice Combs. Baby, listen, the whole Diddy empire is crumbling down. And at the end of the day, for those people being like, people just don't want to take accountability, I find it hard. I find it odd that the women that are preyed on and the men that were paid on are the ones that have to take accountability. But the person that the federal government is saying needs to take accountability for their role they play in, all of a sudden, that's too much. GFM Studio said, my first ever super chat. Thank you. Been locked in from the UK 3 years on. Yes, on Tupac's B-Day, the Bad Boy Amex drops. F Bad Boy as a staff and F the crew. God bless you, T. Yo, thank you. This is true. This is actually ironic for Tupac's birthday. F Bad Boy as a staff, as a record label, and as an MF and crew. Shout out to Tupac. Thank you so much for those kind words. I really appreciate it. Anyway, you guys, was all his kids in the court today? No, they weren't. But they come certain days, and sometimes it'll be 2 of them. Sometimes it'll be 3. We haven't seen the girls since all that pervy stuff happened. And I see why. Because, like, would you want to be sitting there? It was a bad look to have your dad. It was a bad look to have your dad in the courtroom talking about all that crazy stuff. It was just a bad... Damn New York City streets, right? It was just a bad look to have your kids in the courtroom while your dad is talking about all that crap. They're too young for that. And the fact that they were all sitting there stone-faced and didn't care and was trying to look into like the girls' faces while they were testifying, it's like, yeah, no, I get it. They rolling out for their dad, their everything. I get it. But at the same time, and I get why they would want to support their dad because maybe they believe him. But as far as their dad, Diddy, that was very selfish and a bad look to even have them there. Great grandma and Anon, thank you so much for the super chat. Anyway, you guys, mwah, I'll talk to y'all later. I'll be on live later on tonight, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.